Today we are going to make a coil pot. We are going to start with a base, a flat slab base, and then you will put on 3 different coils. And then after you do 3 coils, you can kind of add other coils and you can add decorative circles and pieces. So to begin today, you're going to have 2 rolling pins at your table. You'll each have a blending tool and a needle tool. You each have a cup. That's what you're going to use for your base, and then a piece of clay. And to begin today, you're going to want to roll out your clay slab. When you're rolling out your clay slab, you want to make sure that you are not making it too thin, as if it's too thin, it will crack and break. At the same time, you don't want it too thick, or else it will also crack and break. So I look here, this looks about the right width. You can see I rolled kind of in all directions. I didn't just roll back and forth, or I kind of picked it up and moved it. So this looks like the right width. I'm going to take my lid, I'm going to put it upside down. And I want to put it upside down somewhere where it's all the same. So let's say it too much and it got really thin on one edge. I don't want you to put your cup partly on that edge. So find a spot, all seems about the same. Then I don't want you to press in, you're just going to hold that cup. You're going to take your needle tool, you're going to press into the canvas, make sure you're touching the table and you are cutting through the clay. Slowly go around, you're tracing. Once you've traced it, you can kind of pull that clay apart, set that aside. Do not play with the extra clay, you're going to need that in a moment. Then you can kind of put the lid, and you have the base of your coil pot. Before we start the coils, I want you to write your name. It does not matter what side, it can be the back, it can be the front, but it's going to be the bottom. And when you write your name, you want to make sure you can read it. You can make sure it fits all on one line. You don't want to press too deep. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to do it here. It has to be legible, which means it has to be readable. You have to know it's your name, as they're all going to look similar once they're dry and out of the kiln. This is going to be the back, so I can go ahead and put that. This is going to be inside of my coil pot. Now to start, I'm going to roll out 3 coils. I'm just going to pull kind of pieces from that extra piece. I'm going to pinch it together. Okay, I'm kind of starting to make a coil, but it's not nearly enough. So then I'm going to start rolling using my fingers. And when you're rolling a coil, you want to make sure you're keeping it consistent. You don't want to roll in one area a lot so that it gets really thin. But I'm rolling around the whole thing, pressing very lightly so it doesn't get flat. And I can see I need to just go a teeny bit more, and that will fit, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and do another coil. So I can set that aside. I can take more clay. I want to make 3 coils that are about the same length. You can always cut it if you need to. Make sure you're using enough clay. I'm going to go a little bit more. And then my last one. Go ahead and roll 3 coils. Once you've rolled 3 coils, we are ready to attach them. We know we can't just attach the coil and hope that stays. We have to scratch to attach, slip to be hip, and blend to the end. So for this, you're going to be using these tools. And to start, you're going to scratch it to attach it. So just along the edge, you're going to take the tip of your needle tool, put some little scratches along the edge where that coil is going to go. I want you to go in 2 different directions. So you're going to attach the coil there, but then you're also going to put scratches into the coil. Then you're going to take water and you're going to make slip to be hip. So put just a little water on the base and on the coil, and then you're going to very gently put it on there. Once it's on there, it looks like this is a little long, so I can just go ahead and pinch that off. You can press it in nicely, and you're going to repeat the process. So again, I need to scratch it to attach it, slip to be hip, and blend to the end. So I've scratched it. Go ahead and slip, water here, and then I don't want the ends to be in that same spot every time. So I think I'm going to start it here so that my ends meet up on the other side. We want to make sure it's nice and the same for the third coil. Once you finish and get the third coil on your pot, then I want you to stop and we will talk about how to blend it. Go ahead and do your attach your 3 coils. Once you have your 3 coils, we want to make sure they're sturdy and blend them. So to begin, and I would just let it sit on your table, but I'm going to pick it up so you can see. I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to try and blend that first coil into my base, just to make sure that it's attached. Okay. And then you're going to kind of smooth the other ones as well. You can take this tool, the end of this tool, and you can kind of go right into the creases a little bit, get them smooth. Maybe where the 2 meet, kind of blend them together. You just want to make it look smoother, a little bit nicer. Use your finger, use your blending tool. Then once you think that they are sturdy, they're attached, you could go ahead and use your other clay to make decorative coils. So you can see here, I decided to add a circle, and then I started doing a wavy coil. I didn't quite finish. On this pot, I did a few circles, put them in there, and then I did some wavy coils. So this is where you can just kind of do coils, do circles. If I wanted to do a circle, I could kind of take a little piece, I'd roll it in a ball to start, and then I would flatten it a little bit. Then, of course, to attach it, you need to scratch, scratch. I'm going to scratch here as well. Scratch here, a little slip to be hit. Now, if you just attach this, I'm going to try and blend it a little bit, but that might not stay very well. What you need to do is you need to put a coil on top, like you see I did here, to really make it attached. Then you'll be able to add more coils around there. So I might just do a kind of a smaller coil to go on top. This is getting a little thin, so I may cut that off a little bit. Then I know it's going to go past that circle, so I'm going to scratch it. Carefully scratch it on the top, scratch it on the sides. Same thing on my coil. A little water. And then I'm going to very gently place it over that circle. Like so. Then if you wanted, you could kind of blend out those areas. But now I'm going to keep going. I want to add more coils. So I'm going to take more clay. First, I'm going to kind of pinch it. If you do run out of clay, I have plenty of clay, or maybe your neighbor had a really big piece of clay. To begin, you can borrow their clay. And I'm going to roll out my coil. You could do a pattern. You could do circle, You could do all on the same coil and then a wavy. You could just do one circle. It is totally up to you. I think I'm gonna have, it's probably gonna be nice and long where it'll go here. I'm gonna try and make this one a little wavy. You're just gonna have to kind of experiment with how you can make it wavy. So I'll start here. Keep it wavy. And then have it go up here. So it's not a huge wave, you can see. Maybe I want to put a little circle in there. But I'm going to keep going until it's time to clean up, adding coils, adding circles. I'm going to add another circle. You can see I kind of add another circle, curled that one, make sure it's sturdy. And then the last step, you want to just take a couple of minutes and make sure everything is really smooth. So you're going to take your finger and you're just going to smooth, try and get any of those scratches that weren't covered. Make sure everything seems really nice and sturdy and attached. Just take a little time. Use a little water if you need to make it nice and smooth and neat. And then you are done with your coil pot.